Okay, it looks like we are all set here. So, good morning as always. Happy Wednesday to everybody. Welcome to another Engineering the Markets. My name is Jared, and it is November 16th, 2022. Make sure my audio is turned off, and we're good to go. Okay, so a couple of notes from yesterday to kind of kick us off. We had a fairly tame morning session relative to the news that we had gotten in pre-market. As you can see, there was a initial reaction to PPI data. The market, for the most part, faded from that reactionary candle. There wasn't a ton of new momentum, new continuation from it. And you could tell that there was some grindy price activity depending on your style. This might have been quite challenging to manage and facilitate if your stock was responding accordingly. But then, of course, we got a second round of catalyst in the mid-session, and that actually forced the S&P back to previous day close. Not necessarily listed on my chart here, but you can tell that we closed out on the previous session somewhere around 395. And this catalyst was a surprise event. It wasn't a known catalyst for the market. We saw some news reports that there was some intervention with Russia and accidental impact into Poland. That news event is sparking some fear back into the market, along with the potential ramifications if things were to escalate or if there was any sort of, I'll say, reactionary action taken by certain countries. So the news of that, along with the market reaction, showcases a couple things about what we do as traders. For one, the market itself wasn't necessarily showing any signs of that type of volatility until we got that news. So always be aware that volatility can strike at any time. And it's one of the reasons why we so heavily use things like stop losses and understand that while things can be trading $1 to $2 at a time, things can change very quickly and the range can easily expand. But more so, and I think more as a note for strategy, it also showcases characteristics of the marketplace. For one, the session started in what a lot of people would argue is another breakout range. We were looking at the potential for something as simple as a CAM study. For those who are part of BBT, using CAM-based studies, I'll have to edit this one down to a day, and recognizing where the market sort of sits relative to what is the potential of this price region. For the S&P, we were sitting at essentially the R4 breakout levels. And while they're not necessarily labeled here, this should be either R4 or R5 on this particular study. Usually, whenever the market is trying to do something expansive, aka move away from previous participants and actually establish new price regions that haven't yet been explored, there is essentially two potential trades there. One is that the market will break out, and we'll usually see things like trends, possibly some initiation type of volume starting to move away from a known area of value. And then, of course, the opposite, which is what if the breakout can occur and the market decides to pull back in? Usually, there is an inflection level somewhere around the R3 range, and that usually will facilitate the upper bound of the breakout traders, anyone who's looking for something bigger and more expansive to occur, if those traders are not getting rewarded and the market is not behaving to their expectation, they usually put their stops somewhere back inside the previous cam range. R3 would be the example, and then S3 if you're looking for an S4 breakout. And what you'll notice a lot of the time is if you can have a failed R4, R3 type of breakout and see the market pushing against that level, oftentimes you're going to return to a very important price. And that price, of course, is previous day's close. Doesn't always work exactly to that characteristic, but it often defines an initial target. For those who are looking at this as odd price activity, it does have some features that are very simple for how the market behaves. One is that people looking for breakouts know that they're too high or too low if the market pulls back in. They often can't survive the risk of something failing at those price levels. So when the market does decide to pull against them, they choose to stop out. It's not necessarily that they're forced, but they know that the odds of the market pulling in heavily against them once it passes through its previous cam range is more likely. It's a higher probability, and therefore why not take off the position early? So this is a little bit of an explanation of something we've been discussing in the chat room, but it's also true for anyone trading Camarilla pivots and trying to understand why markets move towards these levels more often than not, and how can I take advantage of that? I would argue that anytime an asset is trying to break away, move outside, do something new, and that asset fails to do it on price, as an intraday trader, you often want to be looking at one of the best targets for that eventual downside or upside, and it's usually previous day close. Now, from there, of course, things can get a little shaky. You'll notice that the market actually hit those levels and then, of course, responded back inside. So it's not necessarily that the failed breakout leads to the opposite type of breakout or the opposite range necessarily being hit, but I would argue that the first and most quintessential target happens to be the middle, and that usually will coincide with previous day close. So a little bit of a more technical, and it also coincides with one of our moderators' brand new book. So Thor Young, A Complete Day Trading System, now available on Amazon. This system not only helps us understand participation levels, it also helps us understand the movement of the market relative to the thought process of participants trying to do something new. Either they're trading back and forth in the range, they believe the range will not break, so if it does, they start to stop out. If they believe the range is already broken and they want to carry that momentum forward, they're looking for those breakouts. If the market doesn't do it, they stop out. And then, of course, anything in between can feel choppy simply because the market isn't necessarily inclined to move with any degree of conviction. It is essentially at value or a previous session's value, and therefore normal auction activities can occur. Now, kind of bringing that into today. If you look at the pre-market activity, and I've marked off a very specific swing low from the previous session, this is essentially where all of yesterday's participants who are looking for a breakout were wrong. this is where they felt pain. Because for the most part, there were some little minor breaches in between, but we stayed at these price levels right around 400. Now, of course, the idea here is that because the market is back testing in this area, any participant from yesterday who saw some of the volatility and maybe even saw the idea that the market couldn't break out at this point in time may be inclined to get out of the market, aka instead of taking a loss, they might be looking at a break even or close to a break even as they can get. And this alone can provide another leg of selling pressure. The idea being that if the market can't climb beyond these levels, then the next area to assess would be lower. And this, of course, is our reactionary low. So it basically breaks up yesterday's session into two pretty key regions. There's obviously the upper extension, 400 to about 402. I would argue, the pre-market session was just a reaction, but most of the actual trading volume occurred around that swing high, along with yesterday's low, and of course the bounce back to 400. Now, obviously, we didn't do that all on yesterday's session, but the pre-market might be setting up the actual technical back test in order to facilitate further downside. Now, of course, what can this mean for us as traders today? We just need to be a little on guard, I would argue, and possibly looking a bit more bearish for the next couple of days in the midst of catalyst. For one, we now know that the market is sensitive to any information regarding this event, sensitive to the point where it actually moves the price and can actually affect some trade setup. So one, that tends to be a more volatile time. We have to be a little bit careful of assuming certain aspects of support and resistance, especially in the face of volatility. We saw the VIX spike a little bit yesterday on that news. It wasn't necessarily carried through very effectively, but for now, it is the start of something that's a possible shift. And we're going to see how that kind of carries into our trade. But additionally, I would argue that we are a little bit overbought. And this is just kind of the characteristic of our buy and sell swing so far. We are getting to price regions and levels that are a little overextended, whether you're drawing from CPI. A lot of people sometimes anchor a little bit lower just to get more of the channel kind of look to the chart. But overall, the overbought nature is starting to become a little present here. We're getting more overwhelming of supply, especially on yesterday's session, kind of topping out some of the initial momentum from the morning. And then, of course, what does the risk look like in this market on pullbacks? And this is where things like volume profile can give us kind of a clue. What would be some other value zones to reassess to the downside, along with the idea that on a bigger time frame, I'll pull up maybe 3 years here, we're at this sort of pocketed region of the S&P. It's a zone of price activity that on the yearly time frame is actually quite strong. There is essentially like a yearly VPOC in this region, but there's also a pocketed zone above us. The market has been unable to rally through this region and hold with any sort of stability. It usually is like an attempt to rally and then a immediate collapse, which doesn't leave a lot of volume on the volume profile. So little risky area. It's one of those regions where you don't want to necessarily be overly bullish. And while it's not necessarily where you have to take profit, we are looking at the possible trend line as a final target. You want to be careful here. The reason being is we don't really know what the market's going to be responding to in the future, as we've seen major changes in a lot of our risk factors. The dollar continues to be on the decline. We are getting to price regions that are not tested historically, so possible demand zones for those who are unfamiliar. An untested low tends to be an initial demand zone. So anytime you have an untested low, it tends to be a good bounce point. Along with the bond market, which we did see a little bit of rally yesterday. There was some return into bonds. This might be more of a fear trade than anything, less of the kind of initial driver of Fed and interest rate hiking. But I would argue that anytime bonds are rallying, you want to kind of review whether or not it's going to be bullish for things like the tech sector and growth, or is it actually fear entering the market and the market running to a more risk-off based asset, albeit this year is a little special in how that asset performs. And then, of course, speaking of the Fed, we are about a month out from the next meeting. It's worthwhile looking at what the market is thinking for the next rate cycle. Currently, we are sitting at 3.75 to 4%, sort of that target range. And if you're looking at the current probability, we've actually got a 4 out of 5 chance, or an 80% probability that we're going to get a 50 basis point hike. So for the first time since, I want to say 3 meetings ago, so I'm probably thinking July was the last time this was. For the first time since those historical meetings, the market thinks that the rate hike has a higher probability to be 50 basis points. Now that's current readings, and that can obviously change, but most of the time we've been seeing a lead up into that meeting actually staying elevated towards 75 basis points. So that's interesting. It's not necessarily actionable at this point, but it does show that the market is foreseeing a slowing of the rate hike cycle. We're hopefully not going to be seeing another 75 basis point hike in the next call, unless something does change in the next month. And we'll start to look for what catalysts those could be as we get closer to the meeting. So some earnings for today. Let's look at stocks like Target, which did have a negative reaction and is currently struggling at approximately 150. You'll notice this is a pretty steep decline for a stock like Target, not only in the bearish reaction itself, but also the width of the sell-off. Most of this is coming from some poor holiday projections. We're seeing some of the over inventory kind of creep into this name, along with what their plan is to relieve themselves of that inventory. And that is, at least currently, foreseen as a more bearish outlook for the stock and the company. When looking at the quantitative data, the market was pricing about a $15 expected move. And given that we closed at 179 and we're trading at about 152, that is a breach. That is categorically outside of expected move, to the degree that it's almost a 2 times expected move. You can even see that if you start to price out the 177.5s, which were priced at about $16 as of yesterday. What I find kind of interesting about this is, if we look at yesterday's trade, Target was a bit elevated from some of the sentiments coming out of Walmart. And whether you're measuring before that sentiment occurred or the actual close from yesterday. Most trade evaluation from the option market should be done from the previous session. It is a significant breach of that expected move, which tells you that not only was the market a little bit hopeful after hearing Walmart, but not only did Target disappoint, but I think it was even worse than what the market maybe expected. So usually that's when you get things that are outside of the norm. It's usually when the move is more dramatic, and that's usually where risk can really be foreseen in the price activity. So we do have a stock on deck. It's a candidate for trade in Target. I would also argue, though, be a little careful trading around 150. As far as what the option market indicates currently, there isn't a lot more downside at 150. Most of the put open interest falls off once we get to 150, and a little bit of a possible fade to the upside kind of play. If this stock is able to base itself out today, a market maker might be inclined to run it to 160. Now, the reason being is the calls and the puts there are symmetric. They're equivalent in their size versus the put side where 150 is high put side, but the calls aren't necessarily as indicative of having to transact. Basically, a market maker might not be inclined to stay there for very long, especially if no one comes in and puts volume at lower prices. So for our purposes, if the stock has to be directional to trade, we kind of want to know, does our edge lie more to the downside, or are we better off looking for a bounce? In this case, I would argue that when we get to 150, watch what's happening with the volume and see if you can see something forming that allows the stock to come back in, with the primary target being about 160. And that's a lot of potential if you're able to capture that on a short time frame. Lows, this one also reported. Remember, this one's sentiment kind of driven by Home Depot, which also had its earnings yesterday. That one actually traded a bit better than expectation. There was some actual technical volatility, and there was a return to previous day close as well. That one was pretty interesting to watch. But Lowe's is reacting to its earnings. The conference call is not started yet, so that can shake up a little bit of the volatility as well. About a $10 expected move, 208 close. We did have a 217.5 print, so that is approximately that expected move. I don't necessarily see this one as a primary right now, mostly because the volume isn't showing much, but I would want to watch it maybe as a secondary, and just like Home Depot, kind of playing it towards those key levels. If you recall, yesterday, Home Depot had a key level at 300. Its previous day close was exactly this like 307 region. And you can see that when the rally started and then the volatility in the S&P came in, where did we go? We went to previous day close. So that's a great trade opportunity if you can recognize that on your asset, understand that the market is doing something correlated, and then of course short or long the asset back to those levels. It gives you a very clear understanding of where should I be short, why am I short, and where am I trying to go previous day close. Yeah, so Home Depot, Lowe's, and then there's also Zim, which prior to this was not moving too much. It does look like some volatility is coming in. About a $2.50 to $3 expected move, 26.30. Let's see how accurate that is. I'm going to call it $3. Only moved about two of those $3 so far, so possible opportunity to continue advancing. One of the more obvious levels would be 30. That one stands out like a sore thumb on the call volume, but don't be allured that it has to be bullish. We have just as much put volume at 25. So this is more of an opportunity to play either side of the market. Given that it hasn't really shown a bullish or bearish characteristic, it's a bit more range bound. Some of those extremes might be hit, and if you're able to capture a piece of that with the right risk, that is an opportunity to play the options or to play the levels at the options. Okay, so I think that's about everything that I had. I don't have enough time to go into kind of a final topic. I'll save that for tomorrow. What I'd like to do is just cover one or two ways to play 0 DTE or 1 DTE option strategies. And the reason I want to do it is because, if you weren't in attendance on Monday, the SPY and the Qs now have Monday through Friday series for options. A lot of us trade these particular products, and why you can use the index or why you can use the S&P. I think the fact that these are now offering this opportunity is a great additional tool to have. It also opens up the floor for new strategies, and knowing some of those strategies can obviously help us as traders. So just so you know what that looks like, there is this new 17 November S&P option series. You'll note the data isn't there because it just opened this morning, and therefore this is one that's going to populate today. Same thing with the NASDAQ. We should be seeing our 17 November with no data. So new Monday through Friday option series are going to be open from this point forward, as far as I'm aware. And we should be seeing them populate out in time as well. So you can even see like a 28, 29, 30, 1 and 2. This week is fully flushed out. Next week is Thanksgiving, so that's probably why the Thursday is missing. But ultimately, it's Monday through Friday at this point. So pretty cool change to the market. There's a lot of option volume, so they must be wanting to capitalize on that opportunity while the market is trading options. So with all that said, my name is Jared. This is Engineering the Markets. Trade safe today. Be on alert for any sort of news regarding the event from yesterday. Look into earnings plays, and then tomorrow we'll talk about those option strategies. Hopefully y'all enjoy. So like and subscribe if you like what we covered here. Stay tuned for Carlos and Norm. We'll talk more tomorrow.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to PreMarket Prep. I hope everyone's having an amazing morning. I hope you guys had a great day yesterday. Good morning, Norm. How you doing today?
Good morning, brother. I'm doing all right. How are you?
Good, man. Good. Could be better, but not bad. Better than yesterday, so that's a plus.
Good. You're
Um,
improving.
yeah. So can't complain. I hope you had a great day yesterday, Norm. For your birthday,
Thank you.
hopefully you enjoy
Thank
with
you.
your family. And
Yes.
let's get to it, guys. Again, I don't have much of what happened yesterday. I really didn't watch anything at all. So we'll just go over to the market pulse and kind of see what's going on there.
Yeah, market was a little wild yesterday with that news of the missile and going back and forth and all that. So a little bit crazy. This morning we had retail sales and retail sales ex autos at 8:30, along with import price index. It seemed like our retail sales were a bit stronger than expected, which is a little off from what we heard from Target, which reported earlier, and it's on the gappers, and we'll see that in a few minutes. Saying that the consumer changed drastically and they're seeing some issues. So obviously they're down almost 15% right now. We'll see how that goes, but later, we've got industrial production and capacity utilization at 9:15, 10 a.m. We've got business inventories and the home builders index. And then we've got Fed speakers scattered throughout the day. So, um, Jared mentioned it. Keep the squawk on. Listen for your news alerts. Watch the news because macro stuff could take shape with what's going on. G20 stuff over in Indonesia, I believe, and then also the uh, Ukraine situation uh, with that missile in Poland and everything else. So be sure to keep an eye on the news.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. All right, guys, let's take a look at our gappers list this morning. A couple of stuff on the gap up side of things. So you got a few there, but many sitting here on the gap down. And as you can see, you got a couple of our names that we've been looking at for a while, and someone's based on obviously reports. Target is on here. CCL down 13%. That's quite a bit. And some other ones. Then we got a couple of Chinese tickers that were up yesterday, are down today. So let's dive in and see what's happening there. So let me go ahead and I forgot to link my trade ideas. Here we go. Let's link that up so we can move quickly through this. All right, here we go. All right, so let's link our trade ideas and then we can get rocking and rolling. All right, let's start with what's capping up today. ZIM. So ZIM right now is up 5.4, 748,000 shares traded. It doesn't look that great as far as the daily. Very, very light
There's
on
not a whole
volume.
lot that looks great today from what I've
Yeah.
seen so far. This is one of the better ones. I would probably at least put it on a secondary.
Mm-hmm.
This is a container shipping company reported earnings this morning, gapping up on that.
Oh, okay. All right, perfect. We'll put it on secondary. Let's see where that goes.
Not usually my favorite, but
Yeah,
it's been a little tough.
yeah.
Find good stuff this morning.
IMGN this morning looks brutal, guys. Just again, no volume here. It's up 4.4%, but it's not much going on. Under $10, so one of those difficult stocks to trade. Baba this morning. What did it do yesterday? Did it actually oh no, it wasn't great. It was yeah, it looked very choppy here. This morning has a decent pre-market activity. You got some volume here, some movement. You are gapping up 2.5 again today, so that's interesting on Baba. When everything else on the Chinese side seems to be, well, not everything else, but a few seem to be down. If I look at Neo, XBev, and other ones. So yeah, let's put Baba on here. Very interesting move on the daily as well, and it still has great volume this morning. On the gap down of things, targets we were mentioning, you and also Jared talking about this morning. This is obviously in play, guys. I mean, look at the movement in action this morning. So one of the few that definitely looks good for today. So that's TGT. CCL. CCL has great volume, 9 million shares traded. What's the news, Storm? Anything moving this thing around today?
Yeah, more debt.
Oh,
I don't understand. I don't see
yeah,
how this company comes out of this without going into bankruptcy. They're just
yeah.
so laden in debt, and I believe this debt is to refinance other debt. But nevertheless, um, market's
Still,
obviously not liking it.
yeah, still digging a hole here. So I mean, to come out of this, it's going to take them an eternity.
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't. Yeah. Either way, right now they're down 13%. 9 million shares traded. Obviously, it's not good. But that 9 million though, pre-market doesn't look great, right? You're not seeing like a movement like you were like on Target. This looks real nice. So could be a good possible. Obviously, it's a bad catalyst. I just don't know how much how lower this thing can go. It's just this thing should have been at zero already. So I don't know what to think about that catalyst, but definitely in play. It's got great volume. CUK, a different share class. I'm not going to add it to the list. CCL is usually the one that trades better throughout the day. We have SI this morning. These guys are down 6.1. Looks like they had a nice sell-off yesterday. Actually traded pretty good yesterday, guys.
More and more crypto drama coming out of the FTX deal keeps unfolding. So
Let's see. Peel that onion back. We'll see what happens there. I'm sure we don't have the full story and all the details of the crappiness there. So SI guys dropping here looks good. Pre-market action looks good. The day looks very interesting. Just got to keep an eye on the news and everything going on there. But I'll add this as a possible at least. I think there's some opportunities there. Just be careful. NCLH, I'm assuming sympathy move with CCL. Obviously not looking good, but CCL is the player today, guys. 9.3 million. NCLH doesn't have a whole lot. Becky's down to 4.2. Not great volume. Let's skip on that one. Macy's dropping 4%. Earnings? No, that is tomorrow. So today's a sympathy with Target. I don't know what's dropping these guys.
could be. This one has not been on here. I mean, it just popped up, so I have not had a
Okay.
chance to dig into it. But if you see anything interesting or if anybody sees anything, let us know.
Yeah, they'll be having earnings tomorrow pre-market, so that'll definitely be in play then. All right, let's take a look at coin. So coin dropping here with many of the other Bitcoin type stuff. This could be interesting. I like the pre-market now. I like the fact that we popped up, went sideways here on F56, and now you got some opportunity to come and retest some of these levels down here, 45, 50, 48. So that could be interesting. It's not there yet. I think you need a whole lot more volume, but the setup is there. The setup on the daily and the pre-market is there for a possible drop to retest some of these lows. Let's look at SE. SE this morning down 2.4. Doesn't intraday trade very well. Had a big day yesterday, looks like it. Look at that. We did talk about SE yesterday, right? It had a good pre-market activity.
They had earnings yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah, so yesterday was, if you wanted to trade this one, yesterday was definitely a day to look at it. This morning you might get some secondary moves here. So again, not a lot looks great. So there is space for something like SE today. And then we looked at XPEP already. I believe we did. Not much going on there. Neo, not much happening with Neo neither. All right, that's what we have, guys. So only two that look really good today is Baba
Yep.
with the gap up and Target. And Target really is the one that's having
You
a
now
rough
see why I told you Zim on a
Zim
secondary
looks
list,
great.
right?
Zim
Yeah.
looks amazing, man. Have to go into that list. I'm about to move it on my top list. Oh man. All right, guys.
Anything's pretty when you compare it to Sam Bank Friedman girlfriend that was running his Alameda.
Just unreal. It was on CNBC. One of the headlines was the guy went from 32 billion empire to possible criminal
Jail?
charges. I mean, it's just wild. How do you, man, insane. Norm, what do you like this morning besides what we have already?
All right, I'm gonna throw one out. I probably will not trade it, and somebody just mentioned it, so he's Cole. He's absolutely a crook.
Yeah.
Two in play, and they actually got thrown out right now. So I apologize for stealing your thunder, but you spit them out when I was mid sentence. DWAC, True Social, Trump's media deal with his announcement last night.
Why is it dropping?
I'm not going to get into that, but
okay. I just came to mind like it should be going.
It's popping on his announcement, and then there's some blowback from people on every side of every aisle, against him. So that's most likely why it's dropping. Would have been a great short pre-market earlier. I didn't have the volume to take though, so I did not. And then the other one somebody also said was TSM.
TSM, yes, TSM. Yesterday we had Warren Buffett on this, and it looks like today you might get a nice move continuation on this. So yeah, this is good. It gapped up, it didn't sell down. That's always a good sign. So TSM, we'll put that on there. All right, cool. Yeah, I like these. Good stuff happening there. All four of them with, except Baba. I don't know what the catalyst is on Baba, but all of these have a great catalyst that can make them move one way or the other. Let's take it to the room, guys. What do you guys have? Oh, I don't have my YouTube chat up. How you guys on YouTube? Good morning. Hope you guys are doing well.
TGT, yes, they warned about the holiday season. That was part of their guidance in their conference call. Tesla being called out.
Tesla.
The stuff we already called out too.
Yep.
TSM,
Tesla's
DWAC.
good. Tesla's good.
I didn't spit this out, but I mean, I'll be watching usual suspects: Tesla, Meta, Nvidia, AMD, Amazon, Apple.
Yeah, but usual suspects will be definitely worth watching today. Definitely like Tesla, Apple is a good one, and let's look at Nvidia. How did Nvidia do yesterday? Let's take a look. I know it was setting up nice, but I guess the war stuff kind of screwed it up a little bit here. But all right. So Nvidia's another good one as well. Day looks very good on this thing. Has been so strong. I'm gonna put that as a possible here. Might move it up a little bit later. All right, we got a decent list, guys. Over on YouTube, we're good there. CCL we have on deck already, so that's good. Let's see anything else in our chat that you guys like this morning. TSM, yeah, I think again, there's not a lot to choose from, guys. Our list, pretty much you guys are
We'll have some
out.
stuff to trade. It's just a little slow forming right now.
A little slow starting up here. So let's do this. Let's get to our community events and announcements. So if anything does roll up on this list, we'll have time to cover it. So let's go there. You can head over to our website, bearwithtraders.com, and head over to webinars, and you can see what's happening for the next 2 weeks.
Absolutely. Every Monday night, not next week, Thanksgiving week, but onboarding and technology with Carlos, 8 p.m. Eastern. Tuesdays, we have strategy. Last night, Peter's journaling should be up soon. All the webinars are, the schedule is empty for next week, guys. So Andrew will be doing, come into my trading room, which is just a 30,000 foot view of his trading and everything else. That's on November 29th. Then the following week will be Carlos talking about developing an educational plan. Tonight, new psych speaker. Very excited to have Kim Ann Curtin come in and talk about the invisible threat to your trading account. And Randy, staying disciplined when taking losses. That is the Wednesday after Thanksgiving. We've got mentorship with John at 11 and Thor at 8 on Thursdays. And then tradingterminal.com, we are building out a one-stop shop for traders, all the information you could want, need, everything from earnings calendars to news, scanner, the squawk. Scanner's very important. You just click on the scan. Is that a slide or are you on the site, Carlos?
No, it's a slide. It's a slide.
Okay. You can click the scanners and you get for free what are essentially people pay thousands of dollars a year for. And then Simulator, of course, and Academy, where you can purchase individual lessons if you want to learn about some aspect of trading. And then the Simulator, where you can trade live. You can trade our replay simulator 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for free. All right. If you are watching on YouTube and you haven't been in the chat, you can do that intro membership. That is at bearbulletraders.com on the homepage. Scroll about halfway down. Use the promo code PreMarket24. That is all one word, no hyphens, no anything. PreMarket24. You'll get a discount, 7 calendar days, 5 trading days in the room. It is a one-time payment. It will not charge you again. You have to go in and choose a different membership category. And our Black Friday sale has started. 60% off the Elite Annual membership and a free one-on-one coaching session with Dr. Kenneth Reed, 60% off.
Thank you very much, Norm. All right, guys, let's dive into what we have here this morning. And let's get my chat back. Here we go. And see what we got going on. So right now we have Baba, which I like the pre-market action, a good volume at the moment on Baba. We have TGT, which again, just very active, tons of volume right now. We have DWAC as well, which continues to drop here, going into the red after, again, big pop all the way up to 31. I won't put too much weight on this, but what's hanging out for a bit here at 28.50, now dropping down at least $4 already from the high. So Very interesting daily as well. This is a tough one, guys. Very tricky to trade. So again, just be mindful of your size on this thing. This thing can move quite a bit, so you don't need to take a huge size to be able to make some good money on this, right? So manage your risk accordingly. TSM pushing towards the highs here, so I like that one as well. Again, usually a ticker that you will not see on our list, but they look very good this morning. Tesla also very active. And then we have our usual suspect, Apple being one of them, bouncing back a little bit here. Very strange pre-market activity today. Is that the SPY? It's just kind of, yeah, so kind of the SPY with the numbers coming out and then pushing up here now, getting above the previous day close. Let's see if that can stick. And again, today, guys, big day to be looking out for news. There's so much going on overseas that's affecting the market. Obviously, we heard about this drop here, and you saw how that affected the SPY. Nobody wants to talk about, I think it was possible making this war bigger than what it is. So just be very aware of what's happening that could affect the markets drastically. A couple of secondary stuff happening here. Nvidia, CCL, which again, CCL is down 13.5. I just don't know how much room this thing has to go down anymore. We'll have to see how it plays out today. ZIM, SI, which continues to drop here, and just the overall issue with Bitcoin and FTX. And then we have SE on here as well. All right, so not a bad list. Try to see if there's anything else that we can add or remove. But for the most part, let's get to some levels. I know it's a little bit early, but there's not a whole lot to look at. I think our list is looking pretty good for what we have what we have right now. So let's go into BABA this morning. Right now, pre-market action looking pretty good. We have towards the bottom highs and lows of the last 2 trading days on this, so you're pretty set as far as that. Even your pre-market low, it's slightly above the previous day close here at 79, 79.90. Yep, 79.91. So we'll slam that there. And then above that, creating a new pre-market high on this one candle now. 81, 83, 84 is the high of the pre-market at the moment. So again, good pop. Had a nice gap up yesterday and pushing higher today. So this is pretty good for BABA this morning. And let me look at NEO. I want to see what other Chinese tickers are doing. Yeah, they're not moving as well as BABA. So stock pigeon saying BABA reports tomorrow. BABA reports tomorrow. Okay, but yeah, they've been playing pretty nice. Yeah, pre-market action tomorrow. Yeah, so we will definitely be having this one in play tomorrow as well. Looking forward to see what that is going to look like. All right after this, guys, what do we have here? So after, it's funny. I think stocks that report in the morning are much better, right? Because you can actually be part of the move. And you can continue to that throughout the entire day. So yeah, I like stocks that report in the morning, much better than in the afternoon. 85 here, 85, good level on the daily as well, right on there. Good area of support, resistance, that's nice. And then over here we have 88, 26, so 88.26, another level there as well on BABA. So looking pretty good on BABA, looks nice. I like the way that's working out there. Let's go over to TGT. So again, big drop for these guys advising the holiday season. It's not what they expected to be, and not in a good way, obviously. 151.51 is the low of the pre-market. Let's go towards the bottom. That has also been an area, by the way, right? When these stocks drop like this, they kind of find the best possible support. After breaking through a few of them, they eventually find some support, and it usually correlates with the daily as well. You can see that there on that 151.38. Below that, the big level is going to be over at a 146, obviously right here. But you do have a midpoint that I think is worth noting, especially after we're being so extended already, 14%. I don't expect it to just slam down to 146 right away. You might have a little small stop around 148.75, might actually be 149. But there you have a couple of days opening, closing right around that area. You also have some good bounces like here and here. So it's a lot of action on that 148.75 that you can take advantage of. Now towards the top, we got your pre-market highs all the way at the previous day close over at 180. I mean, we're up there. There's actually several levels before we get there. We have 154 on the daily. We already have 159, which is a pre-market. No, it's not a pre-market high. It's just a great daily right on there. 159.03, great daily level. Above this, we do have another level over here at 164. And then we have this one marked by our highs and lows of the last 2 trading days. So some pretty decent levels here, guys, on target. Here's your price action. This can go either way. It's dropped a lot already. If it goes up or down, you can have some opportunities. DWAC getting smacked here. So I mean, these guys are. Well, I don't know if they're getting smacked, right? They were hanging around 17 bucks, they're up at 24. It's good. If you're holding here at 17, you're still good, right? So just be careful. So 24 here, we're down 4.6, guys. At the last couple of days, a lot of activity, especially this initial day here with the volume. Since then, we've still been making, and this is the scary part about this, we've been making still some pretty decent moves, right? As far as dollar wise, I mean, $4, $5, $6 moves, but the volume is a lot less. So that just tells you how volatile this can be, how risky this can be. Just be very mindful of that. What's the float on this, by the way? Just curious. I know it's not a. I don't think it's a heavy low float. Yeah, it's 28%. So a little bit on the lower side, but not really a low flow stock. Just manage your risk on the size you take here. Our pre-market low right now is hanging out at 23.82. Let's see if that's going to hold here. I doubt it. The way that this moving down and the volume we're seeing here. We got some buyers stepping in now, some covering. We'll see what happens. But yeah, it's not looking great right now. And then below that, we do have 22.48. And then towards the bottom, we do have 20.58 as well. So plenty of action towards the top, highs and lows of the last two trading days, previous day close. I'm not really going to add anything on here. DWAC could be buy the rumors, right? Buy the rumors, sell the news. Yeah, but it's wild, man. I agree with you. We've seen that so many times. But there's again, I haven't looked at all the stuff that's come out on this yet. Besides, Trump announcing he's running, I believe. And I thought this thing was gonna, without looking at it, I thought this thing was probably gonna take off today. But as Norm mentioned, it's just some other stuff that's being thrown around that's not great. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But again, nevertheless, very careful with this one. Look out for news that can break out on this, and just manage it like a whoa, what happened here? Manage it like a low flow stock. Is this a actual transaction, or are we doing on TSM? This just dropped from 82. Just dropped a buck. All right, not too bad, but seems strange. There, somebody dropped 22,000 shares. All right, so a TSM in play. I don't like the way that looked there, but either way, let's take a look here. Low of the pre-market, we are sitting all the way at the previous day close right here at 80.66. So we'll slam a level there, and then towards the top, we do have 82, 33, and so yeah, so still within the range of yesterday, which is nice. You're not gapping down, you're holding here. Let's see if this thing is going to continue to push higher, or you just might get some sideways action. But the volume is there. The catalyst is a real positive one. So it has all the tools to get going here if it wants to. Just in case, 78.30 low is a good level there below the low of the pre-market at the moment. And then you also have all the way down here 74.91. I don't think that's a possibility. But above the price action, just in case we get going, this is a great level on the daily. I know this daily chart is not good at all. It's very choppy, but this here 84.71, you got tons of touches here, support happening there. So that's going to be a good level to get into if we're going to push higher. All right, so that's TSM. Let's take a look at Tesla. 1.2 million shares traded, and it's dropping here, guys. Down 1.6. Was in the green this morning around 5 a.m. Stuck around there for a bit, and then just dropping here after 8, just dropping down. And our low of our pre-market at the moment just being created on this one candle, so that can obviously change. 191.31. And then towards the bottom, we do have your low for 2 days ago, which is real nice level here over at a 185. And if we were to drop below that, we do have 182. And then we obviously have this one here, 177. So let's see, not a whole lot of green days in the last, all November. If you look at all November here for Tesla, you have one green day here and then two here. It's pretty much a flat day. But even the gap ups have been selling down. Like this thing gapped up nicely. Look at the sell off. So it just has not been great for these guys in the month of November. Right now, looking at rather weak at the moment. The volume is there. Tesla is definitely heavily in play. Here we have Apple. So Apple this morning, again, moving with the overall market. Let's remove some of the levels, and we're kind of stuck between the highs and lows here. So let's look outside of this window. These are your highs and lows, previous day close. So if we focus outside of that, I'm going to look at a great level here at our 141.81. Might actually be 145. You have another daily level here at 142, and then obviously, I don't know why market these. They're just right there. I don't think Apple's going to go down to 138 or 134, but these are just so clear, right? It's just stick out like a sore thumb. Easy to mark them down there and have your levels ready. But I don't think that something really has to go wrong for Apple to drop to 134 again. Um, that's our list, guys. Baba, uh, Target making a new low here. Yeah, Target's making a new low. DWAG holding on to 2382. TSM. Okay, so market dropping. News came out. Everything's going down. Rather aggressive. The market's just might make a new low here despite it's moving down. So that's what's kind of turning things over towards the south side a little bit here on Tesla and some other ones. So yeah, eyes on the SPY, of course, like always, to make sure that you're watching for any possible market stuff that can change things. Any news come out, guys, or it's just market reacting to the numbers at 8:30? MU. I haven't looked at MU in some time. Let's take a look at MU.
Yeah, that news is gonna affect all semis, and they've been up a lot in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, look at this, down 4.5 now. That's why TSM is dropping here. Yeah. There we go. Nvidia also taking a dive. Oh, that's not good. So what's the news? Micron announces further actions to address market conditions. Companies reducing DRAM and NAND RAM, whatever that is, wafer starts by 20%. Okay, that's not good. That's
Yeah,
not good.
different kinds of memory chips.
Yeah, I know DRAM. I didn't know the other one. Like, what is that NAND? All right, cool. So that's not good. Causing some of these, especially the semis, to drop here. Oh, look at TSM. TSM is just, and they're not looking good. They just had a nice gap up, about to erase it. Nvidia dropping. Yeah, so these are all in play. I might actually move Nvidia up now. I'm gonna move Nvidia up to my main list with this news here. And I'm gonna look at so Nvidia is good. Let's see here. I might add, even though MU is moving, I think I'd rather watch like an Nvidia or an AMD. I just think that the volume and movement are going to be a lot better on these tickers. I still keep MU as a secondary, but Nvidia, AMD, and TSM are going to move just better. They're just going to get more volume, just of what they do. Target is good. Baba, I'm gonna move Baba off the list because I have way too many. Let's just move Baba off the list for now. Let's get rid of that. And then out of all of these, I personally, I'm gonna move TSM down because I know I would rather trade like an Nvidia or something else. Just me personally. But TSM, guys, really good ticker. It is in play. But TSM will be the one that I'll move as a secondary for me. All right, what else we got, guys? AMAT from Jonathan. We haven't looked at that one today. AMAT.
More chips. It doesn't generally trade as well as some of
Yeah.
the others, and I don't know that they have any individual news. I mean, it's going to be moving on sympathy with all the rest.
Okay. Yeah, volume is we got 447,000. Man, their pre-market activity is just not great. Like, as you mentioned, probably doesn't trade very well. Amazon this morning. Amazon is good. Yeah, they're down here 1.8. Obviously, the target news affects everybody in retail. So Amazon here is down 1.8 at the moment, and great pre-market activity. Yeah, I like Amazon. I like the daily too. For a possible retest of some of these levels here, right? We're holding on to this support there at 97.20, so that could be interesting. Rivian. Oh, so there we go. So NAND is what is in your SSD. Well, SSD we know, yeah. Rivian. Let's take a look at Rivian here. Rivian is down 1%. No volume on Rivian. No volume. So I just don't. I don't even see Neo. Well, Neo has volume, but it's not great today as far as it is right now, right? So yeah, gonna keep those off for now. AMD under 75. AMD under 75. Yeah, man, it's crazy. And they just rallied. They just came above 56. This is not going to help their situation.
They could have a drop here considering how much these have run recently.
Yeah. So it's I mean, AMD at 56 is crazy.
If you got in there at 56 and you're up almost 40%, why not take profit? You got
Yeah.
warnings coming up.
Oh yeah, especially with this news, right? Like this would be a catalyst that I'm gonna take some off the table, me personally, right? Piton this morning. No, it's not really in play. It's been moving up here. I mean, it's just this stock is not the same anymore. The volume is not there. It's very light. It doesn't intraday trade very well. I mean, it never was a great intraday trading stock anyway, right? You have some opportunities here and there, but it wasn't great. I just don't see anything on this at the moment. That's happening. That's good. Pins. No volume. No volume on pins. So nothing happening there. All right, guys. I think we're pretty set. I think we have a decent list. And again, just as we just saw now, MU came out with news. It affected things and made things in play here. Be on the lookout for that. But I think at the moment we have a pretty decent list here. Nvidia and AMD and TSM also, keep an eye on that one, are going to be heavily in play here today. So, all right, excellent. Let's wait for our moderators list. We'll see what's happening there. I see Mike already has his out with Target, Tesla, and Meta. Yeah, do we have Meta? What's Meta up to? Meta's daily, very interesting, by the way. Meta could be a good possible. I know I got tons of stuff. Actually, I'm gonna find to my possibles list as we do have a little bit of time. There's too much crap in here I gotta get rid of. So MU is good. Yeah, it's too much. MU is good. CCL is I just don't think CCL is gonna trade well. Even with all this volume, I think you're gonna get a lot of chop. Me personally. I'll let Thor, somebody else, watch this one and call it off if you see something. Because I know Thor likes CCL. We're used to a lot, but I'm gonna take that one off. ZIM was looking great this morning. I know. ZIM was looking great, but we got some good stuff now, so we'll get rid of that one. SI could be interesting. Coin. I'd rather watch Coin, actually. I'll take off SI. We'll look at Coin. Coin's looking interesting, guys. I mean, this drop, this pre-market action looks good. The daily looks interesting to retest some of the bottoms here, so that could be nice. SE, this is C limited. Yeah, I'm gonna get rid of this. Let's get rid of that. And then we have Meta. Yes, much better. Much better. Although I don't think I'm gonna be trading today, guys. I'm still I feel very tired. So I'm gonna watch. I'm not gonna not watch, but trading probably be a tough for me today. Oxy. I know Oxy we haven't looked at Oxy in a while. And I just think today we have better opportunities. What I don't like about Oxy, it could be so hit and miss, right? Like it starts so ugly, then you get this run out of nowhere. So again, you just got to be very patient with this one. But today I think we're gonna have some really good opportunities on the stuff we have on the list here. All right, moderators coming in with their list. Let's take a look what's happening there, guys. If you haven't done so already, hit that thumbs up over on YouTube. We appreciate it very much. We're sitting at 110. We would love to be above 200, 250 is our goal. And again, I know it sucks. I don't want to be asking for likes. It's not what we do, but it does help the channel a lot, and that's why we do it. That's the only reason. If not, trust me, we would hate to bother you with that stuff. So we appreciate it if you do that, and we appreciate it for the ones that have done it already. Let's disable this thing over here. Bring over our watch list, and let's see what we got going on with our moderators. We'll start with, as I mentioned, Mike, Target, Tesla, Meta. Susan looking at Tesla, Meta, Nvidia, and AMD. One IPO open up today, Jewel L, and Peter is reporting his list. AMD, Amazon, Tesla. Secondary list, Target, Lowe's, and DWAC. Megan will be looking at AMD and Amazon this morning. So that's her list there. Okay, excellent, guys. We're pretty much set. We still got a couple of minutes, so if you guys have any questions, we can definitely get to them now. Jeff, Oxy based on daily. Let's take a look. Yeah, the daily looks good, right? You had a couple. Obviously this 75 is a great area of resistance. A couple of times we've broken out of that, and we have made higher lows the last couple of days. So on the bigger picture, I mean, it's you would think it would test a 75, 76, 77 areas, but You just never know with this one, man. It can move so random. You just never know. But yeah, daily as far as the possible breakout of 75 looks nice. Just don't know if you're gonna get that today, right? Because we hung out here for quite some time trying to do that, and we've done it several times. And notice a few times we've done it above seven. What is it? Above 74.82. We don't stay up here for long. We slam back down very quickly. So it struggles even here. Struggles to stay above this area. This is like probably where there's not as much demand up there, so it struggles to stay above that. Speaking of demand and supply, make sure you pick up, guys. Thor's book is out on Amazon. Um, what happened?
Just how you went from point A to point B.
Oh yeah, yeah. Sometimes you guys got to just link it up.
That was a
Sometimes it lines up
stretch.
well. Yeah. And definitely pick that up. Um, Great review so far. I have not yet read it. I have not picked it up yet, but I will. I want the hardcover though, so I want to put it on my thing. But if you don't want to wait, you have that
Yeah, it's Kindle
opportunity
only,
to
but the paperback should be out very soon.
Yeah, yeah. I know a lot of people are waiting for that, but if you're impatient, you can get it now. But and get both if you need it. Um, all right, excellent, guys. I think we're all set. Just gonna wait for Brian or another moderators to throw out their list, and we'll be good to go. We were talking about earlier trading terminals, so we have a little bit of time. I want to show you guys that. No one's talking about the scanners, right, and how much is available here for you. And again, all completely free, guys. So if you come over here, he's talking about the scanners right over here. So if you haven't used it yet, if you're a new member at a in our community, or if you're on YouTube and you want to have access to scanners, you can click on here, and then you're gonna get everything that we have from gap up, gap down, which this is the stuff that we're looking at every morning, right? The stuff that we're looking at every morning is this here. So you have access to that. And then these will start populating once the market opens. Turbo breakup, turbo breakdown, my two favorite scanners. And then you have some other ones on here, right? Volume breakouts, RSI. It's a lot of information here that's going to populate. And aside of that, you have calendar, you have news, you have heat map. I mean, just very, very clean. There's no what you call it, no ads on this thing, right? It's just nice and straightforward. So take advantage of that. And you can access a simulator. Again, just a bunch of stuff. Wanted to show you that so you guys have it available. Carlos, a turbo breakup and turbo breakdown. Does it look like? What does it look at? Is it volume? Yeah. So it looks at volume at a very short period of time. I forget the actual details. We do have the breakdown. We can put that out there for you guys. But it looks at a heavy volume in a very short period of time, and it'll put those tickers out there. What you want to do is when that's happening, what you want to do is, if it shows up once, the turbo breakup, turbo breakdown, it's probably not a big deal. But if it shows up a couple of times, like you see, for example, Apple, 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 okay, go to Apple, something's happening there. But if it shows up once, most likely, it's not a big deal. But yeah, take advantage of it, completely free, and people are paying, like Norm said, thousands of dollars for that type of scanner. So take advantage. Um, all right, I don't have Brian's list yet. I know you're asking for it, but not that I'm ignoring you. I don't have his list yet. As soon as I do, guys, I'll throw it out there. Jared's list: Target,
You're
AMD,
still a couple
MU.
minutes early.
Yeah, we're still pretty early here.
Brian's
Target.
on, but he's probably getting dressed before he.
I think Brian comes into the chat room first, turns on his chat room's computer, and then goes to get dressed. So we want him to do that in that order every single time. Jared, Target, AMD, MU, DWAC. So that's his list there. What strategy is it good for? Momentum strategies, yeah. For example, opening range breakup on the 5 minute is great for that because you can see what stuff is getting volume. For example, when you have your list here, right, this is why you put this together. This is what you're looking at, right? Or at least I'm looking at. In my six charts, I'm going to be looking at these stickers on the 5 minute. So I'm going to have them up on the 5 minute, and I can see what's happening there. But sometimes, you might not like what you see on the 5 minute. It might be choppy. It might not be setting up right. And the turbo breakup might spot something that's not on your list. Sometimes the stuff that it spots up, it's going to be stuff on your list already, Apple, Nvidia, AMD, and you'll be able to see it. But there might be a ticker there that you don't have on there, or maybe it's on your secondary list, right? Your secondary list, you don't have. I don't have these up. So I like when it's on my secondary list, because if it's on the secondary list, that means that we already went through like a pre analysis of it. So we know that has potential. It hits on the scanners, we already quickly can go to that and take advantage of it, right? So that's the idea behind it. Nvidia, let's see. Yeah, Nvidia dropping here, guys. Dropping.
So Chip is asking something, and it's a good question about Thor's book. If the paperback version will have color on the charts and diagrams, it does not. It becomes very expensive when you start putting color into books like that, and so to keep the cost where it is, those are actually downloadable. There's a, what is it, variabletraders.com, I believe, /pivot book, and it'll refer to that in the book, and you can go there. I believe you enter your email, and then that'll give you a link to download where you can then print in color if you'd like to.
Oh, nice, good move.
So
that is good. All right, guys, coming up at 9:15, Nvidia and in the semis, very active this morning. TSM I saw is on here. MU, again, look at MU's the one with the news here, but look how they're moving compared to everything else. Just Nvidia looks better, AMD looks better. It just kind of tells you how MU has lost a lot of the clean movement that it used to have. But either way, it is in play today. So keep it on there. All right, guys, I still don't have Brian's list, so we'll wait for him to get it together. I'm not gonna keep you guys over on YouTube on, but I'll leave the stream on, and when he sends it, what I'll do is I'll type it in here for you guys. So if you want to hang around, you can do that. But for the most part, we are set to go, guys. We have everybody's list. Quick recap: we have Target, DWAG, Tesla, Apple, Nvidia, and AMD. Heavy on the semis conductors right now because that is really in play, and everything on here really has a nice catalyst as well. Looking out for coin, guys. Coin looks really good on the daily, so be on the lookout for that. Hit that thumbs up if you haven't done so, and then reminder, today we have Kim, a new presenter from the BBT community, on our webinar for tonight for psychology. So don't miss that. It's going to be at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Looking forward to that, guys. Trade safe, and we'll see you tomorrow. Actually, tonight at 8 p.m.
Yep. Take care, guys. Trade safe.
All right, if you're still on, I have Brian's list. Let me get Brian's list over to YouTube here. So Brian's list: AMD, MU, Target, Tesla, and ZIM. I'll copy in here as well for you guys. So, guys, thank you so much. Hit that thumbs up if you haven't done so, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one. Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning.